When the land remembers. In northern Haiti, a boy and a girl once met under a mango tree, a rich man's son and a farmer's daughter. They played, they laughed, they loved, until fate tore them apart. Years later, grown and powerful, they met again, but neither remembered the past. Not yet. The ancestors watched, whispering through the wind, when the land remembers, love returns. One mistake, a shipment gone wrong, brought them face to face again. The ghosts laughed, destiny smiled, and one bite of jackfruit unlocked a memory buried in the soil. Because in Haiti, the land doesn't forget. It keeps promises, even across lifetimes. This is the story of love, destiny, and the spirits who made sure it all came back full circle, when the land remembers. Welcome to Haiti Folktale, where the earth speaks in memory and the wind keeps stories like secrets buried in mango roots. Subscribe to Haiti Folktale for more stories of magic, love, and mystery from the heart of the Caribbean. They say, up in the north, where the mountains rise behind Cap Haitian like sleeping giants and the sea hums her ancient lullaby, there lived a family whose name carried both weight and kindness. The DeRosso family. They were wealthy, yes, but not the kind who built walls around their riches. Their wealth came from the land itself, from the sweat and rhythm of agriculture, from the green veins of Haiti's countryside. They grew cane, coffee, plantain, mango, and the kind of corn that fattened both cattle and dreams. Every few months, they traveled from their big house in Cap Haitian to the countryside, not in fancy convoys, not with guards or noise. No, the family rode quietly in their old silver Toyota Helix, its sides dusted with the breath of the road. Inside sat Monsieur and Madame DeRosso and their only son, watching the green fields stretch wide and endless like a sleeping sea. As they drove through the small villages, people waved, not because of wealth, but because the DeRossos greeted everyone. The father rolled down his window and called out, "Bonjour, Zanmi." And the villagers replied, smiling, "Bonjour, Met DeRosso." Children ran after the truck, laughing, and Matthew, the family's only son, would wave back, grinning from ear to ear. When they reached the land, the helix rolled to a stop under a great almond tree. Workers came to greet them, wiping sweat from their brows. There was no pomp, no show, only the unity of those who lived from the same soil. Among them was their only son, a boy of maybe 15, named Matthew DeRosso, whose name meant, gift of God. The villagers used to whisper that maybe he truly was one, because wherever he went, laughter followed, and even the old oxen walked straighter when he patted their heads. He was quiet as a sea before storm, curious as a lizard in new grass. The kind who didn't talk much, but when he smiled, it was like the first light of morning after rain. Now, the boy didn't care for his family's meetings and business talk. No, the fields called him, the sound of laughter from workers' children, the smell of roasting corn, the rustle of goats wandering near the stream. He would slip away from his parents and run barefoot through the mud, playing marbles, chasing dragonflies, blending among the kids who didn't know his last name meant gold. And that's how he met her. Claudine de Mangles, the daughter of one of the region's best cultivators, a girl whose hands already knew how to tie a bundle of cane and who could outclimb any boy to the top of a mango tree. Her laugh was a melody of dust and sunshine. Her eyes held the color of tilled earth after rain, warm, deep, alive. When Matthew first saw her, she was arguing with one of the other children about who owned a jackfruit. He just stood there, amused, until she caught him watching. "You never saw people fight for jackfruit, Timothy," she snapped playfully. He blushed. "I just never saw anyone fight for one like its treasure." She rolled her eyes. "Maybe you never eat a good one." From that moment, laughter followed them like a shadow. Every visit, Matthew looked forward to the countryside more than anything in Cap Haitian. He'd wait all week for his father to say, "Pack your things, we leave tomorrow." Then he'd rush to the same corner of the fields where Claudine would be waiting, pretending she didn't care but secretly counting the days. They talked about everything, the hills, the animals, the smell of rain, what lay beyond the blue line of the sea. They shared roasted peanuts and dreams. And slowly, though neither of them said the word, love crept in like dawn, quiet, soft, undeniable. But one morning, the overseers began to pack the wagons. The new irrigation canals were finished. The project was complete. The DeRosso family no longer needed to visit. When Claudine came to the fields that day, Matthew wasn't there. Only dust and silence remained. Years passed like harvests. Seasons changed, hurricanes came and went, and the land kept its secrets. Matthew DeRosso grew into a man, tall, serious, with the weight of legacy on his shoulders. He became the director of DeRosso Agriculture, responsible for trade routes and exports across the north. People called him Met Matthew, though few remembered what his name meant. But the land did. The land never forgets a gift it once received. Claudine, too, became a woman of purpose. She managed regional production for a major agricultural company, coordinating shipments, prices, and trade. She was strong, decisive, and respected. Ironically, she worked for the DeRosso network, though she didn't know it. And while both carried their own lives, the invisible thread of destiny began to stir again. Above the living world, under a spectral mango tree, two spirits watched. Grand DeRosso and Man de Mangles, their grandparents, who had once danced together at a harvest festival long before their families' wealth or separations. They had promised each other, one day, our families will unite when the land remembers. And now, watching from the afterlife, they whispered impatiently. Grand DeRosso puffed his ghostly cigar. She works for him already and still they don't know. What kind of love story is this? Man de Mangles chuckled. Patience, W.I. The cosmos doesn't like when we rush things. Patience, he grumbled. They're walking around like chickens that lost their shadow. She smirked. Cosmic law says we can't interfere. He muttered, if I could, I'd write their names in the clouds. And so they waited, frustrated but laughing, watching fate's slow dance unfold. One market day, a mistake changed everything. A DeRosso shipment arrived mislabeled, crates in the wrong port, buyers furious. Claudine was sent to Cap Haitian to fix it personally. When she entered the DeRosso offices, a grand building near the docks, she felt a strange familiarity she couldn't explain. A secretary led her to a meeting room, where a man stood by the window, phone in hand. He turned. Their eyes met. A faint spark, something ancient, flickered, then vanished under reason. Neither recognized the other, yet both felt the oddest sense of déjà vu. Good morning, he said, polite and calm. I'm Matthew DeRosso. She froze slightly at the surname. DeRosso, she repeated softly. Then she cleared her throat. De Mangles. Claudine de Mangles. I'm here about the shipment error. They shook hands, professional, yet something beneath that formality trembled like a distant drum. As they reviewed papers, Claudine tilted her head, studying him. His eyes, his quiet tone, familiar in a way she couldn't place. Matthew, too, felt something stir, a scent, a memory, the sound of laughter under mango trees. Still, they said nothing. Both turned their attention back to work, unaware of the two ghosts above the clouds pulling at their hair in frustration. Grand DeRosso groaned, I can't take this anymore. They're staring at each other like they're solving a crime, not living a romance. Man de Mangles sighed, the cosmos forbids us from stepping in, remember? Then the cosmos has no heart. She laughed softly, let them find it themselves. That's the rule, love must bloom without a push. He crossed his arms. If I had my way, I'd trip one of them right into the other's arms. They both chuckled, watching the humans below slowly awaken to the truth. Weeks passed. The mix-up turned into meetings, the meetings into collaboration. Each day they worked together, and each evening both went home with questions they couldn't answer. One night, after long hours reviewing manifests, Claudine said quietly, do you ever feel like the past tries to speak to us? Matthew nodded. Maybe the land remembers things we forget. Silence stretched between them, gentle, full. Later, when the paperwork was finally sorted, something miraculous happened. The missing crates appeared in perfect order at the port. No one could explain how. The driver swore he'd followed the same route as always. But somewhere in the world of spirits, Grand DeRosso and Man de Mangles clinked ghostly glasses and whispered, a little divine paperwork never hurt nobody. Time passed, and the harvest festival arrived, Festival des Moissons. The moon hung bright over Cap Haitian, and the air was thick with music and roasted corn. Claudine attended with her team, dressed in red and gold. Matthew came too, drawn by something he couldn't explain. Through the crowd, their eyes met again, and this time, the familiarity struck deeper. He walked toward her slowly. Bonsoir, she smiled. Bonsoir, Maître DeRosso. He chuckled. You still call me that? After all our late nights with ledgers. She teased. Old habits, W.I. The drums began to play compa, warm and full of joy. Matthew extended his hand. May I? Claudine hesitated. I'm not sure I remember how. He smiled. Maybe the land will remind you. They danced beneath the mango trees, clumsy at first, then graceful, like two melodies that had always belonged together. Above, the ancestors leaned forward. Grandoroso whispered, finally. I thought I'd be dust twice before this happened. Man de Mangles laughed. Hush, you'll wake the cosmos. The cosmos can watch, he declared proudly. A promise made is a promise kept. Their laughter echoed through the stars. As dawn stretched across the fields, Matthew walked Claudine home beneath the fading moonlight. The air smelled of sugar and soil. They stopped beneath a mango tree, the same kind of tree that had shaded their childhood years ago. Claudine, smiling, reached into her bag and pulled out a small piece of jackfruit she had bought at the festival. She bit into it, laughing softly. Still the best fruit in the world. And that single sound, that laughter mingled with the scent of jackfruit, cracked open something in Matthew's heart. He froze, eyes widening. Images poured back into his mind like rain breaking a dam, a girl standing barefoot, arguing over a jackfruit, her hair tied with a red cloth, her laughter echoing across the fields. He saw the boy he once was, the one who hid his name, the one who laughed until the sun went down beside her. Claudine noticed his face and frowned. Matthew, what's wrong? He stepped closer, trembling slightly. It's you, he whispered, voice breaking with wonder. The jackfruit girl, the tomboy who laughed like sunshine. Her eyes widened. What are you saying? You were my first love, he said, tears glistening in his eyes. I finally found you. Before she could answer, he took her gently by the face and kissed her. Not the kiss of strangers finding each other, but the kiss of two souls the land had been trying to reunite for years. The wind swirled around them, carrying the scent of earth and fruit, as if the whole world sighed in relief. Above, Grandoroso stood, eyes wide. Finally, Man de Mangles clapped her ghostly hands. You see, even the cosmos couldn't stop love from remembering. He grinned, wiping an imaginary tear. The land just needed a jackfruit. In the spirit world, laughter rippled through the fields. Grandoroso exhaled smoke that turned to starlight. You see, the land always remembers. Man de Mangles smiled. Even the cosmos can't silence what was promised. He grinned. You think they'll notice we may have nudged a few papers? She laughed. Let the universe forgive us. Love makes its own rules. The wind carried their joy down through the fields, through the town, through the waking light of morning. And those who rose early that day said the air smelled sweeter, though they couldn't say why. That's how it goes in Haiti, where the line between past and present is thin as mist. The ancestors laugh and whisper, the land remembers, and love, once planted, blooms again. So if you ever walk by the market of Cap Haitian and hear laughter under a mango tree, maybe, just maybe, it's the land remembering the gift it once received. Subscribe to Haiti Folktale for more stories of magic, love, and mystery from the heart of the Caribbean.